And we're live. Guys, I'd like to welcome you to the Let's Talk Fishing Podcast. The Let's Talk Fishing Podcast is brought to you by Grant Rods, the American Bass Club Tournament Trail, and, of course, Crusher Lures. I am very proud and very honored to have a guy by the name of Todd Tait on tonight. Todd Tait is a great fisherman from Mobile, Alabama. What I like about Todd is he likes to fish the same way I do. He goes to places where you can catch largemouth bass, speckled trout, and redfish all in the same spot. And man, that's why I love fishing in southern Louisiana. Man, the marsh is just such a cool place. How you doing tonight, Todd?
I'm doing great, Jay. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, buddy. It's another blessed day. Got to do a little fishing today. I didn't catch much, but one bluegill bite, and we're doing great today, Jay. Thank you for having me, man.
Oh, you're very welcome. You know, and it's great to have you on. I've been wanting to get you on for a long time. Casey Bryant already commented. He said, hey, let's go.
Let's go.
So anyways, man, we were talking beforehand. You like to fish in places down in the marsh. For those of you guys who don't know, the marsh is the near coastal waters, and it's just a maze of islands and canals and bayous, and there's so much life in the marsh. It's so cool. You can see just shoals of fish coming in, and dolphins and snakes and alligators and largemouth bass and speckled trout and bull reds, and oh man, I could go on and on and on. It's just such a last time I went to the marsh, all I caught were sharks, and I don't like sharks. But why don't you tell us about this, Casey? So you go to a place. I like to talk about confidence. What is one of your go-to presentations that you know you can catch just about anything?
Just about anything. I'm not gonna lie. Right now, I got about a 2-inch, 1.75-inch crankbait that I bring with me everywhere. Matter of fact, I don't have one. I probably got about 100 of them, and it's a go-to. It's one of them baits where I throw it, and I really don't know what'll bite it, and it's usually a red, a bass. It's a speckled trout. I've had all that happen in one day on a tournament. We've caught all four in the same bait. That's usually one of the go-to baits. A lot of grass, like you said, living down here. That's one of the blessings of living down here in the South, Jay. In Mobile, Alabama, originally from Louisiana. I haven't even got to touch fishing down in Louisiana yet. Where I'm at right now, in Mobile, Alabama, the way we're doing it on the Causeway and the Delta, Tensaw, Dog River, all these places like that, the mixture of fish, man, the places you can go, the grass brings, the water brings life, the grass brings food. That's where the fish are. Love fishing from the bank. I pull out everywhere. There's so many places you can step out. You can literally go to fishing in the end of a creek, on the end of a street, then go on the other side of the road and fish in the ocean. So it's amazing. And the type of lures, I mean, from the shrimps to everything, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I like that. I like what you had to say. You know, the only thing I don't like about them, particularly a small little crankbait, a redfish is going to have that all the way down its throat.
That's true.
And getting that thing out, that's why, man, when I fish for reds, my favorite way to do it, I don't catch a whole lot of fish doing this, but if I can find a riprap shoreline like on the Mr. Go, which is not very far away from your old stomping ground of Chalmette, I like to flip a big old swim bait.
You flip
with 60-pound braid.
I heard that. My son was like, he caught a big old red. He had about a 14-inch black snake, and he tied it up the night before, and he said, Dad, you think this will work? And he always does different stuff. First cast, big old redfish, and the people fishing with us, Dan, was going, is he catching him on that snake? And it's they'll eat.
Now was that a reaper, a bass reaper snake?
We looked it up. No, I don't know if it was a Savage Gear. Bass Reaper don't make a snake, unfortunately. I wish.
Bass Reaper does make those 12-inch long straight worms that I like to use, around here for bass. Well, like in August, we're working down a long point, just real slow with a big old shaky head hook, like a 5-aught shaky head. And when someone takes it, you just got to reel, come on, until you feel that click, and got him. And you know it's not going to be a 12-incher. You know, it's going to be something probably amazing. You know, and that would be so much fun to catch a redfish doing that.
Yeah. There's a lot.
We have a lot of. I hate to interrupt you, but Bank Kids and Josh Holmes have all. They said let's go. That must be one of your things, huh?
That's the group, man. That's what we're a part of. That's all the bank family. That's all the fishing family. That's the people that's involved in what we do. And what we do is we love spreading the love of fishing, and we love spreading the word and just talking about fishing and having a good time, man. From giving away stuff to helping people. That's what it's about, Jay. Like we were talking about before we went live. You know, fishing brings us together, man, and that's kind of my goal. And you know, I've loved where it's put us at right now, and I think it's awesome, brother.
Oh yeah, I can tell you're every bit as much in love with fishing as I am. Even after over 50 years of doing it, people say, "Do you ever get tired of it?" I've been tired because of it, but never of it.
That's right.
When I was guiding, man, it'd be 3-4 months having to go to work, get off work at 2:30, be on the water at 3, fish till 10, drive home an hour. You know, I never got tired of that.
Right, it's exciting. It's like when you catch a fish, it's brand new for the first time, and you know it's like that. It's a good feeling.
That's why, you know, well, like we were talking about. Do you ever like to jig? Well, like use jigging pigs for big reds?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 1/4-inch jigs. A lot of times, a lot of current. We've been down at Dolphin Island. We've been doing some Dolphin Island tripping at night and fishing some lights. I don't know if you get into that, but them people float them dock lights and a 1/4 ounce, 3/8 ounce jig head, smoking them, man.
I just love that, man. You know, because they don't hit them very hard. It's thump, 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 and you reel down. And you know, to set the hook on something that big with heavy equipment and 60-pound, and you know, you're attached to it by rope, which is what I call 60-pound you know, braid. Because I'm from the north, man, where you know the water's crystal clear and you don't use 60-pound anything. You know, a lot of the big smallmouth bass I've caught on 4-pound test, you know.
Oh.
And but you know, you have to really know how to finesse her. You have to sweet talk her in, you know. But okay, let's talk more about you. Speckled trout. What are your favorite speckled trout presentations?
Speckled trout presentations down here right now. I know right now if you can get your hands on some right now, being that gas is so high, and I don't really get too much live shrimp. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I'm not the live. I can buy some or go get some, but sometimes when I get it, it don't really work out that good for me. And I've also proven, and we've seen more bass be caught on more bass. Forgive me, more speckled trout, more redfish caught on plastic than live shrimp. But let me just so on that note, like you was talking about the Mojo shrimps, I actually got a lot of voodoo shrimps. I'm gonna try the Mojos, but the voodoo shrimps, like you said, we catching 20, 30, 40 speckled trout on the same lure. Remarkable lure. And then white Sinister Shads from Bass Reaper Baits on a 1/4 ounce jig head. Same result. Of course, you might burn a bag out a night, but trust me, $3-4 for a bag of fun. Well,
as opposed to 55 cents a.
Come on. Well, no, right now I think a dozen of shrimp is it was $4 last summer, right? So I think right now it's $6 or $7 or $8 for a dozen of shrimp.
A dozen shrimp? You know, here in Louisiana, which is where they come from. I know they also come from Alabama, but you know, traditionally it's always been about 30 cents. You know, and yeah, I'll buy 100 of them, but I'm not buying 100 at 6, 7. No,
it was crazy.
You know, down here, I like to use Cacao minnows.
The Cacahos,
if I can find them. Yeah, Casey Bryant just said that it's almost $7 a dozen for shrimp. That is just insane, man. You know, I can still go down to the. I have a friend who's a shrimper down in Morgan City, and he was just telling me $3.50 that he'll give them to me for $3.50 a pound. You know, jeez, I'll go down there and buy 100 pounds, bring them back here, devein them, and freeze them. You know, I'll be eating shrimp. I'll be eating shrimp all. And also, you know, I just find it hard to believe because, you know, you can go down to places like Grand Isle and cast net them.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of people catch their own shrimp, and I think to do that, yeah, you might gonna. I think you got to get a different license. You got to get some kind of harvest license to make shrimp. I don't know. I'm in Alabama. They got different rules here. Trust me.
They sure do.
No telling.
Because we just got a whole bunch of new rules. Well,
Yeah.
like you can't go on. You have to get a $20 a year permit to go on to a WMA.
Really?
Like Elmer's Island, everybody goes to Elmer's. Everybody's been to Elmer's Island if you live in South Louisiana or Southeast Louisiana. Everybody goes to other places you live in the West. But man, I've caught a lot of fish fishing over the years, fishing the banks of Elmer's Island. So you fish the banks a lot, huh?
I mainly fish the banks. I started the banks. We started on the banks. That's why you see that right there. Me and my kids, I'm going on 7.5, 8 years. So I always fished my whole life. Grew up in Shellman. My mama gave me a weight with a spark plug. We fished Lake Pontchartrain, out dead shrimp type, and all that good stuff. And then as I grew up, I grew up. I kind of got away, and then as I got older and where I'm at right now, in these last 8.5 years, we've been fishing hard, and we started with bass. But it's any fish, man, and it's anything. It's like that's why we love living down here, because you can literally step out and just to get a bite. You know what I mean? Just to get a bite.
Oh
And it
yeah,
doesn't.
that thump.
Yeah, that's
thump,
it.
It's addictive.
That's it. Just that tick. You just want the tick.
Thump. I've spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars chasing that thump.
Yeah, me too. But it's well worth
it. It's an honest addiction. It's not like other addictions.
I've been there.
It's an honest addiction, man. It's something that, like you, I started out when I was 4 years old, and that was just because, Daddy wanted to make sure I knew how to swim first before he took me in his boat. And yeah, Josh Holmes just said that the tug is the drug.
That's right. It is. What fishing does, though, it puts you with a group of people, and fishing brings people together, and that's why it's so important. I think we chasing the fish, but really, it's more than that. It's way more than that.
And about bank fishing, man, I've done a whole lot of bank fishing down there around Grand Island. That's where my biggest ever speckled trout came from, is right there in the canals going into Grand Isle. I caught a 25-inch trout out of bottom rig in a Cacajou minnow. I hooked into it. And I was using one of my. I have what I call my burner poles, that I use for surf casting. Because you don't want to take I don't want to take my expensive Daiwas and real expensive rods into the surf, because they're going to get ruined. So I just buy the burner $35 Walmart specials, and I didn't think I was going to be able to bring this fish in with it. What the heck is this, man? Is this a Jack Crawl? And then it came up. The guy goes, "That is like," he said, "it looks like a trout, but I've never seen a trout that big." And the bank fishermen, we catch a lot of 10-inch white trout around Grand Isle, and I just could not believe it. I was in my redfish spot, and a freaking bull trout came in. I could not believe him. I already had 4 reds, so I let that one go. That trout, 25-incher. I want her passing her genetics on.
Yeah. Hope you got a picture.
Oh yeah, I got lots of pictures of that one. She's a famous trout.
Let's go.
But so there's a lot of places to fish the bank around Mobile, Alabama, huh?
A lot of places. A lot of places. Like I said, a lot of runoffs, a lot of creeks, a lot of rivers down here, from Dog River to Fowl River to a causeway. There's a lot of fingers, there's a lot of nooks and crannies, and a lot of little over bridges. Learning the banks, man. From, like I said, when me and the kids started, you've learned, and you learn about them fish, and just like them bass, you learn, hey, find some shade, and you start thinking like a fish, and then in order to catch fish, you got to kind of think like a fish, and but the banks is where it's at, man. Under the bridges and cool water. Lately, it's been a lot of rushing water. This rain right now, let me say, when it rains, my radar goes off. I love rain. I love moving fast, rushing water, brother.
It has to be moving, yeah. No, I have caught reds in still water, but I don't know. I can't remember ever catching a trout in still water. I just
Always.
you probably have, haven't you?
There's a lot of stagnant and in places, but I can't. There's a lot of holes, like I mean, like there's some holes but there's always current. There's always moving water, but them bass like to hang out. I'll catch bass at a dead end where water ain't moved in 5 months, and there'll be a 5-pounder sitting back there. It's
Oh yeah, and yeah, you're right. I've caught a lot of trout in the dead end canals, but that's always in the middle of winter. Dead end canals are the place to go in the middle of winter.
Oh yes, they are. Like a good one, and a good one was that Dog River, man. Like I said, me and a buddy of mine, uh, he hit it hard this year, and he uncovered a lot of stuff from just going like the depth finder is the ticket, and being in a boat with him is the ticket. And that's what doing it in the wintertime. Now, of course, bank fishing for trout in the wintertime will be a little different because to get to them deeper holes, because it's 9 foot, but then it hits 13, and that's where they're at. And you just drag back and forth and back and forth. And I'm talking big ones, one after another, big, big, big. So yeah, good fishing.
That's exciting. If you hit it right, if it's the worst day of the year, and it's been cold for several days, they will they call that redfish jubilee down here.
Redfish jubilee.
And you can actually participate in redfish jubilee from the shore in several places, like in Wyclowski. There's a place in Delacroix.
Wow.
Redfish, because it's deep right next to the bank, and and you have to stand shoulder to shoulder. But I grew up doing that. I grew up, snagging salmon on the Great Lakes doing that. Everybody's going like this with 60-pound line and big old lead core. They call them Alaskan spiders or Michigan flies. Oh, it's been illegal for 20 years, but I'm a lot older than that, so it's legal.
Your 30s.
Yeah, I've been 30 for over 20 years, man.
Speaking of jubilees, you just said that. Let me just say, I just want to say something. Where I'm at right now, Mobile, Alabama, and Tokyo Bay, Japan, is the only two places where a jubilee happens. I've yet to see one personally. I rushed to one last Friday. We got a text message where one happened, and I got there super fast, and one had just got done. But them jubilees, I don't know if you've heard of one, know what happens over here, but that's magnificent.
I don't know what happens. Tell me about this.
Them jubilees, what it is the inlet of Mobile Bay. There's a depletion of oxygen, and what this does is it takes the oxygen out the water, and anything from soft-shell crabs to flounders to blue crabs to fish, everything takes a rush to shore and literally goes into centimeters of water, trying to get more air, and it's just a fest, right? And it's a free fest is what it is. And it mainly happens on the east shore. I'm on the Mobile side. I'm on the west side of the Mobile Bay, but a lot of it happens on the east shore. And these past couple of weeks, there's been 3-4 nights in a row. Couple buddies of mine right now send me videos when I wake up where I wish I would have went with him when he told me to go. And there's flounder. I mean, people just scooping them up. But here's the ticket. The wildlife people, the marine people are there, and you got to maintain license. You got to maintain sizes. You got to maintain. There's the rules to it. A lot of people just scoop stuff up, put it in an ice chest, and take off. But you got to respect the rules as long as doing it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But that's interesting. So the water gets so hot, and so much of the vegetation dies, and the rotting vegetation uses up oxygen very, very quickly before the tide can come in and refresh that. Wow,
yeah,
that's interesting. That's interesting, and the fish are literally starving of oxygen.
Yeah, it's been going, and to be here, and it only happened one other place in the world. It's magnificent. You know what I mean? I haven't seen one yet, though.
Brian was just talking about that too. He said oxygen depletion in the water, fish starve for oxygen, essentially beaching themselves.
Yep. Yeah.
It's what happens. That's interesting.
One tonight. It might be one tonight. I got locations where I should go check one out tonight.
Go check on that, man. It won't last very long because once the tide changes, it's gonna refresh the oxygen.
Yeah,
and then that's why the marsh is such a prolific ecosystem, because that's a safety valve right there. It will not very long. But it's just so hot right now that, man, it's literally killing everything. That's horrible. But
Crazy. We seen on a depth finder this weekend 92. 92 was the water this weekend in some of the places we was at. That's hot. It's hot water.
It is. So you also catch bass in the marsh. What are you catching bass on?
I like a lot of buzz baits. I got spinner baits. I've been old school in spinner baits right now. I'm not gonna lie. Old school buzz baits. I love that. And again, like the crankbait, bass reaper baits. I like big weights. I like ounce and a half, half ounce, 3/4. I like to get in the grass. I'm a part of Team 419 with Pastor Daniel McGee. We participate in a series of tournaments, and we step out and lately we've done pretty good. But that punching that grass and getting in that grass, we've been finding some good bass, man.
Well, you punching, man. Yeah, that's one of my favorite ways to do it. Now, I do a lot of punching down here in southern Louisiana, particularly in the marsh areas. You know, it's really kind of weird. You can go down the bayous around south of Homa, and you have your side finder on, and you're not seeing a thing. It's like devoid of all life. Then you go up and start punching in those mats, particularly if you find some milfoil like right next to the water lilies. You know, the hyacinths. If you can find that mixed stuff and just start punching through it, like, man, there are fish here. Look.
Yes. And that's right now too, especially because, like, you know, even when it's cold, and I've learned that this past season my own self. Just like the mat hold coolness in the summertime, they hold warmness in the wintertime, and then fish are in the that way, you know.
It's like I told you, a lot of that vegetation is dying and rotting, and that releases heat as it decomposes. So yeah, and also, you know, provide like you were saying, it provides shade, which, you know, it might be a whole degree cooler, and that could be the difference between life and death for a bass.
It is. You'd be amazed what 3 degrees the difference made, because that's what it was this weekend. We had to find 87 degrees to catch fish, 90 degrees you wasn't catching fish. And fish are smart. Fish will go that way, just like when it rains, just like when moon phases and tidal flows. I mean, fish go that way, you know what I mean?
That's one thing I hate when I'm driving to go fishing somewhere. I look up in the sky and there's a full moon, and it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I'm not going to catch anything by 8. They've been eating all night long. And if there's no moon, they don't eat at night because they can't see.
Yeah,
you know, catfish can eat, but then, you know, I don't fish for cats, particularly not in the marsh. I'm not interested in heads.
That's right.
Even a big old sail cat is just...
Moon phases and tidal flows is important down here. I don't think it's as important if you was up north. I'm not saying here. Let me say, everything's got tidal flow, okay, tidal change, okay, but I don't think it's as much important up north as it is down here where I'm
the only reason it's important is for what I just said. You know, that the fish will be up all night long eating during a full moon. But, you know, you don't, even in the Great Lakes, you don't have an appreciable, you don't have a tide that's going to make a difference on anything. Now, if you go really far north in like Alaska, you'll get tide changes of 30 feet, and that's insane. I've had to use as much as 6 pounds of weight to get down 150 feet to catch halibut in Alaska, you know. Yeah, that's, you know, it's everything's on a different scale in Alaska.
I actually want to go there one day.
You should. That should definitely be on your bucket list, because I lived there for a few years, and I went from Alaska to Morgan City, Louisiana. I mean, one extreme to another.
Daylight all the time over there. It don't ever turn nighttime, does it?
Well, on June 21st, which is the longest day of the year,
okay.
You know, 12 o'clock at night, I was still grilling salmon. You know, standing around drinking beer, grilling up some salmon that we had just caught. That's living right there, boy. But also, you know, on December 21st, you know, the sun barely makes it up over the mountains, stays up there for about 2 hours, and it goes down, and by 3 o'clock it's dark.
Dang, yeah, that's crazy.
Woo! You got any lures you want to show us?
I'm playing with some right now. Here's one of my favorite punching baits. I could pull this out. I'm quick on this one right here. You know that's Bass Reaper baits.
Oh yeah. I have probably 100 of them.
These are
Okay.
Contagions. You got any?
What is that called?
Contagion.
Oh yeah, contagions. Yeah.
Yes, good. This is my flipping bait. This is my go-to flipping bait.
Okay,
right
put that up and make it. Yeah, I like that because there's no tentacles off of it to get caught on the vegetation.
Straight in, straight out. Yep, ain't nothing on that. Perfect. I like that. And also, let me tell you, this is what I've been down. I love this. There's no secrets. We don't tell secrets. Bank Boys Fishing, we don't keep secrets. We tell other people, right? Here we go. So I don't know if you like using them paint markers, but I love using them paint markers. I love painting them red, painting them yellow, even I've been on a lot of swim baits and painting stuff lately. Here's a good example right here. Here's the Sinister Shad. That's a 3.5 swim bait from Bass Reaper Baits. I'll take this and make this a trailer on everything I throw, from a spinner bait to a even on the back of a buzz bait. But I'll make this. I'll take a red marker and I'll put a bullseye right on that joker, or I'll put some orange dots, something to that effect. But yeah, I love doing it.
Okay, I was going to ask you. So that's 3.5 inches. So you put that on the back of spinner baits. Do you ever put that on just like a swim bait hook?
I put it on a jig head. I rarely really swim it around too much. Like I said, so I don't really. I've been taking this a lot and going saltwater fishing. That's what I've been doing a lot with them. I use
a lot of swim baits just on jig heads for like speckled trout.
Oh yes, killing them at nighttime. Throw these in the lights. This is the perfect bait. That
is a great bait for the lights. If you're fishing under the lights with that, I bet you tear them up.
Tear them up, and we love them. That's one of the things we love doing down here, man. We love hitting that island, Dolphin Island. And you talk about Grand Isle a lot, and Dolphin Island down here is good for us. We got Gulf Shores. We just got done with a snapper trip down in Orange Beach. Had a blast, man.
I was down on Orange Beach last winter but it was more of a partying trip with the guys from college, And we sat there one morning and watched a guy catch a shark, and everybody, "Are you impressed by that, Jake?" No, not at all. Not impressed. And he's like, "You should have him on your podcast." No,
you should have him. He got him a shark though.
He got him a shark.
One of the voodoo shrimp. I'm gonna have to get me a Mojo shrimp. Put me in touch with. I'm gonna have to put me in touch with who I can get one. But I want
to.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try some.
Josh Holmes just said Fort Morgan, Alabama is his favorite spot.
Yes, Fort Morgan.
And also, Casey Bryant wants you to show the mighty minnow.
The mighty minnow. Okay. Oh, Kaden. Come here, bud. Let me get Junior Bank Boys. My kids started a group. You said Bank Kids. Let me pause for a second. So on Facebook, so when me and my kids got together, started fishing. Of course, we were nicknamed Bank Boys. Will you go into the room, go into the box, open them up, get me a bag of Mighty Minnows, please? In the closet, shoebox, Nike. So he's got a group of Bank Kids that him and his friends just opened up. They started, and it's just a bunch of kids catching fish and posting pictures, and it's been pretty cool. So definitely anybody listening or watching, check them out on Facebook. Bank Kids.
Bank Kids, guys.
Going to get some. I should have had all these baits prepared. I apologize. This is my first podcast. Sorry, Jay.
Oh, it's no problem, man. It's no problem. Not at all. That's no problem. Okay. So you like the mighty minnow? You like the voodoo shrimp? You're gonna try out the Mojo shrimp.
The Mojo shrimp.
MojoTackle.com.
My buddy's been throwing a power prawn. You've heard of that for saltwater fishing?
Power prawn. Have not heard of it.
Oh, it's a shrimp. It's kind of like a voodoo, but it's not a voodoo shrimp. It's like a sturdia. It's kind of maybe like a savage gear, but they've been throwing these power prawns, man. They've been doing real good with them. It's a nice shrimp.
Power prawn shrimp lure.
Give me the whole box.
I like that. Oh man, I got put in power prawn, and all I got were the Z-Man pre-rigged EZs.
The pre-rigs, yeah, them are good too. Them are good too. Here we got some mighty minnows. Let me show you. This is one of the go-tos. So this is one of my favorite baits to move in Russian waters. I use little hooks. I use Gamakatsu number 4s to go on these. On them right here.
Okay.
Right there.
Who makes that?
This is Bass Reaper. That's Bass Reaper baits.
Okay, and it's called the Mighty Minnow. Okay.
No, perfect.
And what kind of hooks, number 4 Gamakatsu, are you using? Are you using octopus hooks?
It's a drop shot hook.
Okay, so
I don't have any in the box. No, I don't. It's okay.
What's it called?
And here's some drop shot weights as well. I like to do some drop shotting with these mighty minnows, and these are first contact. This is also a branch out of Bass Reaper. Greg and them, they started first contact, man. That's where I use all my heavyweights. This is all my heavyweights. This is how I get in the grass. That's all my flipping weights. My 1 ounce, my 1 ounce flipping, ounce and a half, how to get in the grass, you know. Yeah.
So guys, the power prawn is sold on Salt Strong. I just found that Brazilian power prawn, Brazilian shrimp.
Yeah, I think it's the Brazilian color. A couple. Josh Holmes, my buddy Keith. They know about them power prawns. I watched Keith tear them up. He's my winter speckled trout man. Tore him up on that. Tore him up.
Yeah, Josh Holmes just said that get the Brazilian prawn sold on Salt Strong. So I went there to look at it. Just looked at that.
Definitely.
That is really cool. That is really cool, Todd. Thank you. Man, there's all kinds of good. I'm getting all kinds of good information here, folks. Man, you guys gotta listen to Todd. You gotta listen to Todd. And Josh Holmes says the Brazilian is better than the USA version. And that's a good color, man. I'm looking at this power prawn on Salt Strong, Brazilian shrimp. That's a $4.99 for 2 of them.
What? 2 of them? You get 2 of them for $4.99? Ain't that something?
No, $7.99. I'm sorry. I was looking at the jig heads.
You get 2 of them.
No, you get $7.99 for
2.
For 2, yeah.
Good deal.
No wonder you got excited.
Well, it's still a good deal. Live shrimp, $7 a dozen. They die. The shrimp it's been so hot. We've been getting live shrimp and they've been dying. So ain't no point.
Well, you gotta fill up that with ice, and then as soon as they hit the 90-degree water, they die.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I use a lot of live shrimp in the cold time of the year. So about 2 months out of the year, I get to use those. Yeah, I agree, Josh. Josh just said they're expensive, but they last a long time. You know, if you can get soft plastics that are made correctly, they're going to last a long time. You know, once upon a time, you know, you remember way back when we were young and you would use soft plastics and you catch one fish on them, you know.
Fish. I'm not gonna say no. I mean, yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. That's why you try to find that brand that's got good stuff and sturdy stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, like you said, you know, I've used a lot of Bass Reaper stuff, particularly. Gosh, you know, I use so many different companies. I get everything confused. I do like their crawfish stuff a lot. I caught a lot of fish last summer on their 10-inch long straight worms.
The lash worm, trick worm.
Yeah. Long ass shaky head.
On a shaky head.
Long ass shaky head lash. I love it. Coffin crawl. Okay, Dinkmaster Deppin just said that's the coffin crawl.
The coffin crawl. Tony D knows. He's in Bass Reaper baits. That's my Bass Reaper brother right there.
Ash worm, big ass shaky worm. Oh, okay, it's called bash, big ass shaky head. Tony D knows his stuff, man.
Tony D, yeah. He's up north. PA kills the smallmouth, smalley fisher right there. You and him. Yeah, PA. He's up in PA.
I just told him smallmouth rock, Tony D.
That's right. We do to make a trip. We actually we just had our second annual Bank Boys fishing trip, Jay. We went down to West Palm Beach, and last year we was in Eufaula. But this one coming up, I think we need to take a trip. I need to catch some smallies. That's on the bucket list. So them smallmouths on my bucket list, man. I want to catch a bronze beauty.
This place for you would probably be someplace in the TVA. You know, like Pickwick. It wouldn't be Pickwick. I've caught smallmouth in Pickwick, and that's the one of the TVA reservoirs I know the most about.
Gotcha.
I'm sure they have smallmouth in some of those. I know they do in some of those northern Alabama lakes.
I think Gunnersville up top. So if you go up top around Decatur, you know Decatur's bordered right there with Tennessee River. So you can do something in there. I always figured to kind of take a trip where it was worth it, where I'd know I'd catch smallmouth, or I'd have no choice but to catch smallmouth. Go up, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Every time I go back to Illinois, there have been times when I go back to visit Illinois, and in the morning I'll take off at 2:00 in the morning to drive 300 miles to fish with one of my good buddies who now is retired and does nothing but guide smallmouths. It's worth it to me because I know this guy. This guy mentored me in the fishing industry, and I know that he says they're biting. I caught one on my third cast, and I just kept catching them all day long. And he's like, "I'm sorry you had to drive so long." I'm like, dude, and then in the scheme of fishing, 4 hours each way is it is what it is, you know.
Right, to get the bite that way. What's your biggest smallmouth you caught up there? Where you were fishing?
Jeez. The biggest one I caught when I was like 21 years old when I was living in Michigan. I didn't weigh it or I just barely I measured it, on my little Plano tackle box. I was in the Air Force. I had no money.
Yeah.
It was 24 inches long and about.
Oh, that's a football.
Oh yeah, it was just amazing. And back then I had no money. I was using a 5 foot long ugly stick light with a very old Abu Garcia reel with the blue Kmart line. No, I didn't have any idea how old it was. You had to be able to really fish back then, because I was bank fishing. You would have loved it, man. I just, I got off work, changed right there in where I worked, and put on shorts and an old pair of tennis shoes, and
that way,
and just went out to the creek and started fishing. Because my wife was a bartender, so I just wait till she got home and fish until dark.
The life right there.
Also, I've caught a lot of 6-pound smallmouths in the Great Lakes. When I was tournament fishing, I never caught them during the tournament, but I'd be up there practicing and can do a fish of a lifetime. I tell you, Todd, the coolest thing about smallmouth fishing, you hook into them in crystal clear water, and they're 25 feet. They're 25 feet down, and you're fighting them up, and they come up, and then they take a jump, and they do a backflip for you. Yeah. And then you pull them in.
You get to see them come all the way up because the water's so clear. We don't have that luxury down here.
What's really cool about where you live is the uncertainty. You don't know. You just don't know. You feel a thump. You can kind of tell if it's a trout have a very distinctive thump. But saying redfish, sometimes a big red will try to pull the rod out of your hands, but a lot of times they'll just thump, just like a bass will. You set the hook, damn. I love it. There's just nothing like that. That's just so exciting. Guys, if you never fished for reds, you really need to owe it to yourself. Just like I was telling Todd, he really owes it to himself to go up there and fish some smallmouth in cold, clear water. It's, if you can get up to the Great Lakes, that's, Saginaw Bay, Lake St. Clair, Green Bay, Lake Erie. Go with someone who really knows what they're doing too.
Yeah, I'll hopefully get up there one day. Like I said, it's on my list for sure.
Because it's a different world than what you're used to. You're gonna. It's just a different world, and I just love it. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. But also, guys, if you've never experienced a redfish, setting the hook and then just having that, pulling it back and it stops, and then it goes the other way like a freight train.
Yes.
Or if you're in really shallow water and you hook into it and he jumps out of the water, they don't do it very often, but.
Buddy of mine on right now, he's listening to us, Mr. Josh Holmes. He's actually the owner and operator of Average Joe Gulf Coast Fishing, one of the most awesome fishing groups on Facebook. My man just ripped some reds the other night down on Fort Morgan, and he's holding up some Kongs. He got his first Jack Crevalle. It's a monster. Jay, I don't know if you ever caught a Jack Crevalle. But man, excitement that I know that it brings people, but he tore him up. He's a red king, so if you say anybody's listening to catch reds, that man knows reds, and that's his jam.
Josh, that's great, man. I love redfish. I love them. I can't say enough about them. They're just an amazing fish, and there's so many of them. I don't even mind eating them because I've seen schools in Delacroix, just 30, all of a sudden you're sitting there, you're not catching anything. All of a sudden 30 reds swim through.
There's a video. I'm sorry.
What's that?
I was saying there was a video floating around on the phone on Facebook a few weeks ago, and it's a school of reds, and it's from a drone, and it looks gold. It's like a sea of gold. It's hundreds of them. I don't know if you've ever seen. I only seen it with a crazy, but it's all remnant.
I've heard about it, and they call that the red tide.
Red tide, yeah, that's what it looked like.
Well, Josh, man, I'm having a great time talking to you, but do you have any shout outs you'd like to do? Any thank yous to any organizations, companies, individuals who've helped you along the way?
Yeah, first and foremost, Jay, none of this would be possible without the Lord Jesus Christ in my life, man, and where he's put today for me, and for that I'm grateful and always will be. Secondly, my family supporting me and being a part of I love to do, because as I get older, I've taken what I've loved to do, and I'm addicted to fishing, and I've ran with it, and they've helped me along fishing with it and creating this love organization of fishing family that we got. So all my bank boys, my bank girls, my bank kids, everybody, thank y'all. Bank Boys Fishing Inc. They're the ones, man, that make it happen, man. Everybody that's a part of what we do. Bass Reaper Baits, First Contact, Down Yonder, Bancroft Enterprises, Thomas Custom Lures, Miss Melissa, Lures Alive, Tebow Rods, Chris Tebow in the house. Check out his rods. Team 419 Outdoors, Average Joe Gulf Coast Fishing. Everybody that's a part of what we do and help us. That's everybody that I want to give a shout out to, and of course, like I said, man, my family, and I always say, for putting up with my addictions, because I know it's hard. I know when I get home, right now I got some snapper thawing out, but I want to go fishing. So I give it to them for dealing with me the way they do.
That's awesome. Josh, I'm sorry, I'm talking to Josh here on the comments. Todd, I'd like to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come here and talk to me and all of my listeners on the Let's Talk Fishing podcast. Guys, the Let's Talk Fishing podcast brought to you by American Bass Club, Grant Rods, and of course, Crusher Lures. Guys, thank you for tuning in. And as Todd said, yes, this is all because of God. I completely agree with you there. I couldn't agree with you more. I've lived life both ways. And
Amen.
And guys, go out there and have fun this weekend. Because believe me, take it from me, an old man, that it's going to be over all too soon.
Hey, thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity. I love talking to you, brother. We got to get together and rip some lips, man. We got to make a trip, set it up.
You know, I do get over there a couple times a year to Orange Beach. Usually, I know I just gave all glory to God, but I still party once in a while, and that's usually where me and my old college buddies end up. Go over there for a weekend partying trip. So we get there out there at least once a year. You know, the Orange Beach. It's not too far away from you.
Oh, man, definitely give us a shout. We'll Bank Boys will take you fishing, brother.
That would be so cool, man. That'd be so cool. Well, stick around after. I'm going to end the podcast now, but stick around, please. Don't run away yet. And guys, have fun this weekend.
Thank y'all for tuning in.